Move the chains.
Welcome to the EndZone YouTube. Let's move the chains. So excited to bring you a top 10 games for week 1 with the recent schedule release. This is really fun because we're just coming off after the draft and there's a lot of excitement and anticipation for the season, and everybody has a clean slate. It's a new year for everyone. High hopes for all the teams across the land. So that being said, let's get right into it. And we'll start off with my honorable mention, Vikings versus the Bengals. I love watching the Vikings, mostly because Dalvin Cook is a beast, and he was on my fantasy team for a short while last year, so I got a nice dose of him. Versus the Bengals, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. I just want to see what that connection is. Like, are they going to be magical day one, right after the draft? They say they're going to do it. Let's see what they got against the Vikings in week 1. Now, heading into our top 10, we have the Bears versus the Rams. So, I'm a guy who loves defensive teams versus each other and offensive teams versus each other. It's just really fun. So, Bears and Rams, two great defenses, but we also have some storylines here, and they both come here with the quarterback position. The Bears, who's going to start? Is it going to be the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, or will it be Justin Fields, the first-round quarterback who the Bears traded up to get? I'd love to see Justin Fields play this year, but I'm not too positive it's going to be week 1. But on the other side of the field, you have Matthew Stafford, a player who I've always wanted to see suit up in a team outside of the Motor City in Detroit. Nothing against Detroit, but it feels like he's just had a wasted career with the Lions because they've been so poorly managed and they've been so bad for so long. I'm so excited to see him with the Rams and an offense that can better suit him. Number 9 had a defensive game at number 10. We're going to go with an offensive one at number 9. Cardinals and Titans in two different styles. So you got Kyler Murray, this mobile freak quarterback. Also, they drafted Rondale Moore, which is exciting. Bringing in J.J. Watt along the defensive line. Their wide receivers are kind of scary here. Versus the Titans, a team that's defense not really good last year, but their offense was incredibly suffocating with Derrick Henry. They just run it up the middle continuously, and eventually he breaks out for a 90-yard touchdown run. But they don't have their offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, so I'm kind of nervous for the Titans. What are they going to do after that, losing some tight ends? So number 9, Cardinals versus Titans. We might get an offensive shootout here. Number 8, the Packers versus the Saints. This would be higher if this game were last year near the opener, because we would know that, yes, it's Aaron Rodgers versus Drew Brees, two teams that are contending for the Super Bowl. But this year, the Packers, it's an uneasy situation. We don't know who their quarterback is going to be. Versus the Saints, another uneasy situation. The Saints are solid in everywhere but the quarterback position, whereas the Packers are kind of carried by Aaron Rodgers. But for the Saints here, you got Taysom Hill, a guy who's really unproven, and then Jameis Winston, somebody who's been a turnover machine in the past, but has a lot of promise, and we've seen that he can sling the ball and throw the ball deep and be a starting quarterback in the NFL. You also got Ian Book, the young guy who I don't think really has a shot, but we will see week 1 what's going to happen with the Saints offense, and Alvin Kamara, he's always a dog. But at number 7, we have the Dolphins versus the Patriots, a really tough game for the Dolphins here in Tua Tagovailoa to start off with, because everybody is keeping their eyes on Tua right now. It's Tua's got to do this, Tua's got to do that. They bring in Will Fuller in the offseason. They draft Jalen Waddle, fast wide receiver, big in terms of just playmaking skills. And he is somebody who's going to make an immediate impact on this offense, along with Will Fuller. They've got Devontae Parker. So now I'm starting to say, like, this Dolphins offense and wide receiving core, you've got a nice blend of really talented players versus a Patriots team that was stripped down last year but still competing. A lot of injuries and a lot of players opting out because of COVID. I think that Bill Belichick is kind of pissed off this year. He drafted a quarterback. We'll see how that situation goes. I think it's going to be Cam day 1, though. This is going to be an interesting game offensively for the Dolphins versus this Patriots defense and Bill Belichick. Is Bill Belichick going to make a mockery out of this Dolphins offense? We will see. Number 6, Chargers versus Washington. Well, I'm biased here because Joey Bosa is one of my good friends and I'm a Chargers fan here, but I didn't want to put them too high because I got to be a little bit unbiased. Chargers Washington, I realize that Washington, with Fitzmagic or whoever, maybe it's Heineke as their starting quarterback. We'll see. Their offense might not be as far along as other teams, but I love the weapons around the quarterback possession. Terry McLaurin, he is a consistent wide receiver who's also a star. And then also this defense. Ron Rivera has always been kind of this linebacker genius. I think that they're going to bring more of that this year against the Chargers team, who I will admit, being a Chargers fan, the offensive line has not been good in recent years. The injury bug has been quite apparent. Could this be the year that the injury bug and the offensive line are fixed? If so, the Chargers, to me, trying to be as unbiased as possible, are a contender. You can call me out on that. I don't care. I'm buying Justin Herbert and this Chargers football team. Also, Donald Parham, tight end from the XFL for the Chargers. So look out for him. Number 5, the Seahawks versus the Colts. Seahawks, I think, are in win now mode. They believe they can win. They believe this could possibly be the year. Versus a Colts team who I've said in past videos is super solid, super well built, all around, defensively, offensive line, running back, wide receivers could probably use a little boost, but they helped that in the offseason and in last year's draft. Now they have a new quarterback. Is Carson Wentz going to be the MVP Carson Wentz, the better side of Carson Wentz, or is it going to be last year's disastrous Carson Wentz? We're going to see against a Seahawks team that looks to be solid next season. Number 4, Cowboys and Buccaneers. This is just a brand game. I can't believe I'm saying that with the Buccaneers on the other side, but whenever the Cowboys are on TV, I want to watch the Cowboys, especially when they're going up against Tom Brady and a Buccaneers team that basically returns their Super Bowl roster, every single one of them. This Buccaneers team, I'm telling you, is going to be dangerous. And I don't think that they're going to get the normal Super Bowl hangover like some teams do with Tom Brady at quarterback. And Cowboys finally finding some health. Last year was kind of a disaster. Not kind of a disaster. It was really a disaster for the Cowboys. How do they respond? Number 3, Browns versus Chiefs. I trust in the Browns. I'm finally on the Baker Mayfield train. But it's tough to start up against the Chiefs, a team that really does their thing early in the season, and I think that the Chiefs could possibly win big here, but I want to see how the Browns are going to go up against the Chiefs in week 1. A young defense also getting a steal with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, pronounced his name right, from Notre Dame, the linebacker, getting him in the second round. Huge. Number 2, I've got Trevor Lawrence versus the Texans, or that Houston team. I'm not really excited about the Texans next year. In fact, I think they're going to be the worst team by far in the National Football League. But Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer, Travis Etienne, I'm excited to see him, and the Jaguars. This is going to be fun. I think that this offense now, I like the offense. I did a video last year with about Laviska Shenault, talking about how I loved them drafting him and how he's been a weapon. He was one of my favorite college players. Bringing in Trevor Lawrence, and then you got a nice James Robinson at running back. I'm excited to see how they blend the two, Etienne and Robinson. Miles Jack at linebacker. It's a solid linebacking core. Can this defense step up? Because it's not the defense that the Jags defense was back when they were in the playoffs, but this is a new era. How is Urban Meyer going to change his ways from college to the pros? And at number 1, by far my favorite game to watch, the Jets versus the Panthers. I'm so excited to see this matchup. First of all, elephant in the room, Sam Darnold going up against his former team. Now the thing that makes this game interesting is the Jets are probably not going to be good next year. So I like how they put this game in week 1, because this game might not work any other week of the season. I am, however, excited to see Zach Wilson and this offense. How are they going to be different from last year's just atrociousness? Any vocabulary word that you want to use that describes bad about the Jets' offense and defense as a whole, use that last year. They got a new coach. They've got new weapons. Can the Jets turn things around? Maybe. Panthers, a team that I have been on the wagon for ever since Matt Rule was hired. I love the changes they've made. I love last year how they drafted all defensive players. They continued with a good draft this year, mixing it up though, having some more offensive players. Heck, getting Chuba Hubbard, the Canadian from Oklahoma State, at running back to be with Christian McCaffrey can be really fun. And Sam Darnold, this is his chance to prove that it wasn't his problem, it was the Jets' problem. So with that being said, I'd love to know your opinions. Which games are you most excited for this season, and which are you going to watch the heck out of? Thanks for watching the End Zone. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we can move the chains.